Hey everybody, it's DIY Coach Al over here at Lawn Care and Home Repair. And I wanted to shoot this video just to kind of let you guys know what I'm up to so far this early in the lawn care season. And let me first of all say overall, excuse me, overall the plant is looking really good, really healthy. This is my front yard. I've already had to do a few things out here. And as most of you who subscribe to my channel, most of you who check in know that Coach Al is doing a project over here. I'm going to go around over there and show you in a little bit where I've had to do some work because of poor situation I had going on. And it's kind of interesting because all the people that I follow, whether it's Yard Bruh, whether it's Ryan Noor, whether it's DIY Lawn Coach, Devin, whoever it is, Jesse over at Lawn Life, I'm seeing that everybody is kind of dealing with the same thing. And yeah, this is that season where we're going to see poets start to come out. But it's just interesting how we do our pre-emergents. This year, as I told you before, I actually did prodiamine. No, I'm sorry, not prodiamine out here. I actually did mesotrione, tenacity out here. The reason I did tenacity out here was because I am positive that I am going to burn this lawn off. Just want to do a project. This is a combination of turf type tall fescue, perennial rye, and Kentucky bluegrass. It's been here since I moved in 3 years ago. And I wanted to, and the house itself is about 25 years old now, so I doubt that anybody has done anything to this grass since then. And there are better cultivars out here. I am going to stay with the turf type tall fescue. I just saw Girl's Lawn and she was using a fescue. I didn't even know, and forgive me because this is where I'm definitely ignorant. I didn't even know that there were spreading fescues out there. I prefer to go with the turf type tall fescue because it is more heat tolerant than what I've seen with the perennial rye. And I like to grow a taller lawn, and the perennial rye and Kentucky bluegrass don't do as well as I've seen in a taller lawn. I like to keep mine cut at about 3 or 4 inches. And the problem is that I've had issues with fungus, different types of fungus, brown patch, dollar spot, little bit of everything. So I do want to stay with the turf type tall fescue, but I'm going to burn this off and go with the better cultivar. I've seen several now, and if in fact there is a spreading fescue, that means that I'll have to do less overseeding in the fall, less spot repair because it will actually repair itself, if in fact what I've heard is true. So I just want to come back and show you an update on some of the things that I'm going to be working on. Hang tight, be right back. This whole part of my lawn, my front lawn, I'm going to be turning it over. Hopefully that what I heard about the spreading fescue is correct. As you know, fescue is what's called a bunching grass. It basically grows where it is. It's not like Kentucky bluegrass or Bermuda grass, and I'm not sure about St. Augustine, but these will basically spread through rhizomes and repair themselves. Now, this is a common area, what's called the vanity strip or the easement. Up here in Maryland, it's called the easement. This is county property, but it's what I take care of. Now, I'm not going to do anything over here except hit this with the cocktail that I'm going to put together a little bit later today or tomorrow because it's actually pretty windy out here. And right here, I did hit this, I'm not exactly sure, this spot right here of this poa. This is poa triv. I hit this poa triv and I'm actually seeing it die. And I didn't hit it with glyphosate, so I am kind of glad to see that it is dying. I just have to remember exactly what I hit that with. It wasn't the triclopyr because I haven't mixed that cocktail yet. But over the next few days and weeks, I'm going to be doing some experiments. Still have, like I said, a little bit of, this is common chickweed right here. And I've seen this chickweed come up along with the bittercress. And it seems like those are the first boys that kind of come out in the spring, the bittercress and the chickweed, to let you know that that weed pressure really did its thing and it's coming up. Now over here, as I said, the sun is kind of going in and out. Over here is where I burnt up a lot of this because this was where I actually had the poa triv and poa annua outbreak. So I hit this with 3 rounds of glyphosate, and you can see that is burning up, or it's burnt up, and you can see those brown spots coming. And what I'm doing is right here, you see my property line is right there where that fence is, and on the other side is my neighbor. So I hit everywhere I saw Poa triv, everywhere I saw Poa annua, I hit it with the glyphosate, and I'm going to come out, like I said, either later today or tomorrow, because I've got to get it cut low so that I can do the reseeding. It's already, today is the 13th of April. Not exactly sure when I'm going to post this video, but everywhere you see this dying, it is where I use the glyphosate. Now, I have an interesting thing that happens here. This tree is actually my neighbor's tree. It's right here at the property line. I can almost never grow grass right here because the root system, you can actually see the roots coming up through the ground. A lot of roots over here in this area is competing for the sun, is competing for the water, is competing for the nutrients. So I don't really expect a whole lot from over here, but I am going to try again. Over here was, actually this is my neighbor's yard. Well, right over here is the boundary, as I said, where I actually had that Poa triv especially come up. And yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and treat this not so much like an experiment, but I'm not expecting a whole heck of a lot if I get disappointed with anything, because my ultimate goal, ultimate plan is to just really right around maybe mid-August or so, I'm going to burn this whole thing up. And then when the temperatures are right when it hits below maybe that 75 soil temperature range, and I'm going to go ahead and do some pre-germ for the seed and just establish a new lawn. So that's what's happening with the front. I'm going to be coming out, like I said, and hitting this, cutting it low, bringing spicy out and cutting it low. I'll probably just go ahead and put a mow on the rest of the grass. Just kind of cut the whole thing low, because as soon as I cut this low, I'm going to do everything necessary to get new seed in there. Over there is just where I planted some new seed, put some straw over there to keep the birds. I have a lot of robins over here, and I can already see the new grass seed that's already come up. So I don't know, I'll probably take this up a little bit later today. And then back over there, you can see where the new grass has already started to come in. So that's basically what's going on with the front yard. Now let me tell you what's happening in the backyard. So this is the backyard. This is just beyond the fence. And this area right here has just been kind of comical. My yard right here is on a slope. I know you can't see it right here. Maybe when I walk down a little further, I'll pan up. Whenever I planted, and most people know that whenever you're going to plant seed in the springtime, you're going to have those April showers, like they say, to bring the May flowers. It wasn't the rains that was a problem. It's the fact that it sits on a slope. So I planted the new grass here and actually got a lot of germination. That's not an issue with the germination. It's just that particular spot over there is sloped the most, at the greatest degree. And every time it's starting to really get going, we'd have one of those April showers and it would just kind of wash it away. And I said, okay, not a big deal. What I did was got my core aerator, my handheld core aerator, and I core aerated that area to make sure that the seeds got deep into the ground. So I'm looking for that to be coming up pretty soon. The funny thing about this side right here is that is my backflow valve over there for my sprinkler system. And when I turn my system on, I haven't used it yet, but when I turned my system on, I forgot to close the shut-off valve. So my system was on for about 5 minutes, and it was just shooting water all out here. And it literally wiped away all the seed that I put down, all the topsoil that I put down, all of the peat moss that I put down. It just wiped everything out. So I had to come back out here, close that off, and put some more seed down. But I'm already seeing the germination there. So, and as I've said before in several videos, what I'm sure we're going to do is to actually do a walkway from the front out here and bring it all the way down right here, and we're going to put it up there to the deck. So when I say truly this is a test area, this is exactly what I mean. I really want to see what happens up here, but ultimately we are just going to brick that off. And as a matter of fact, we're even considering just this entire area where that little garden area is, this entire area, we may just concrete this and actually put some seating and a grill and stuff down here. But it's what I love to do. It is a test, so I'm open for it. So what you see, I actually hit this with some Scott Green Max with some urea a few days ago, 2 days ago, because I knew that we were going to have some rain. The yard is already looking good. I just wanted to hit it and green it up a little bit. I can see a little bit of yellow nuss edge that's popped up here and there, but for the most part, this has been wonderful. I did hit this entire back area with prodiamine, but I was a little surprised when I started seeing a few things popped up. Not too concerned about that yellow nuss edge, but I did have some poa back here and just a little bit of poa annua, no poa triv, just a little bit of the poa. I'm sorry, I did have some poa triv right over there. And as I said, I did hit that area with the prodiamine. So it's just interesting because regardless of what you put down as a pre-emergent, it's not a guarantee it's going to always work. Over here, I had some seeds come up and some, not some seeds, I had some, a little bit of weeds grow up, so I hit it with the glyphosate. That wasn't poa, that was something else, but the glyphosate did turn it white, as it's going to do. Right here, that is poa annua. When you see this, you got to get it up right away. Now, I know it doesn't mean that there are no more seed heads down there, but the ones that were just on top, we are not going to give the pleasure of germinating in the yard. Right there, a little more of that poa annua. And as I said, I actually, and I'm not pulling this up at the stem because I am going to be using this. I'm sorry, pulling it up at the root, because this is where I'm also going to do the experiment that I saw my friend do over on turf culture, where I'm going to do the cocktail of the sulfentrazone, the mesotrione, and the triclopyr, and I'm going to also put a little bit of the spectricide in there. I don't have the speed zone. I would have loved to use that. And I'm only going to do some spot spraying with that. I'm not going to do a blanket spray because if, in fact, the plant doesn't like that cocktail, that way I only have to deal with repairing one spot. Did see over here, I'm believing again that this is my dog, my nephew dog, Jax, who just kind of blessed my yard. Over here, he loves to come and run around. So I think that this is just evidence that Jax has been right there. It's not that you can't have long disease this early in the spring, but I haven't started to dial in yet my fungicide, my propiconazole and azoxystrobin combination. Usually wait until the temperature gets a little bit higher, that temperature in the combination with the humidity. But if in fact I see another spot, I'm going to keep my eye on this. Don't want to put any fungicide down if I don't have to. This is one of my subscribers said, Alfonso, this is your true project over here. This, once again, is just beyond the gate. And as you see, I have a lot of poa triv right here. I have common chickweed over there. Once again, the poa triv. I'm seeing poa triv, that's hairy bittercress, right over here. Now, all of these I can address with the spectricide, but I really want to use this area as the true test. The grass is just really high out here. I'm not going to cut it because we're not expecting rain today. I think 24 hours from now we are expecting rain. So this is going to give the cocktail at least 24 hours to sit on the grass to see what happens. But I'm actually I know it sounds odd for somebody who's trying to get rid of weeds. I'm actually very interested in seeing how this cocktail is going to work. Not every herbicide will treat every weed. Sometimes you may have to use that triclopyr ester to treat some of your broadleaf. You may have to look at something like that velocity to treat a cool season grass within a cool season grass for that poa. But that cocktail, I'm very interested because turf culture has some good results with it. So I am actually going to come out here, once again, chickweed. I'm going to come out here and hit this area with that cocktail. And the reason why I say I love it is because I have some cool season grass weed out here, the poet triv, and I have some broadleaf out here with that, not the hairy bittercrest. I had something else out here. I can't even think of exactly what it was. The other thing that I did have going on out here, this is interesting. This is called Indian hemp. And I don't know if this is a weed or a plant, but it grows up out here and it has a very thick stalk. So when you're cutting something like this with your lawnmower, it can actually damage your blades. But this actually pulls up very easily. And I broke that one. So yeah, it just pulls up very easily. I don't know if this will respond to an herbicide. What I'm thinking about doing is just hitting this with glyphosate. Yeah, see, it has a very, it breaks off very easily. I know I didn't get the root. The other thing I had going on out here, this was the reason for me actually doing my very first video on Ornamic 170. A lot of common Bermuda I saw start out here, and it basically came up under the fence through the rhizomes, came up under the fence, and it got into my yard. So I can't neglect this area out here. Once again, chickweed right here at the gate saying, let me in, Alfonso. These white spots over here, once again, just a mesotrione that's turning the grass white from hitting some broadleaf weeds out here. But what happens out here is going to impact what happens beyond the gate. So I'm not going to cut this. I'm going to, if the wind dies down today, I'm going to come back out and I'm going to hit it with that cocktail of the triclopyr, the mesotrione, and I'm going to also, as I said, put some of that spectricide in there. So yeah, and the other one, I forget exactly what it is, the triclopyr, sulfentrazone, sorry about that. So I am going to use that cocktail, come out here and hit it. I think that Bermuda hemp, I'm just going to hit the root of that with glyphosate. Now the other thing that's interesting out here is that I actually treated this entire area with prodiamine. Not only did I treat it with prodiamine, I actually hit it with the annual rate. I didn't do a split application with the prodiamine. So I was kind of shocked to get as much of the weeds out here as I did get. As I said before in another video, last year, or the year before last, I actually used True Green. Not exactly sure what they use, prodiamine or dithiopyr or some other pre-emergent, but this is the first spring that I'm having weeds like this. I don't want to say that the prodiamine didn't work. I know for a fact that I hit it with the right application, with the annual application. I don't think I diluted it when I did my product to water ratio. But as I said before, what goes on out here is going to transfer over here. And when you see right there at the gate, you see the chickwood, you see the poetriv, but then when we get over here on the other side of the gate, we don't have that over here. And that's because I keep the backyard treated. I almost wish that it hadn't rained. The ground is pretty soggy, and yeah, you can cut the grass when it's wet, but it just tends to be very messy. So I'm not going to worry about doing that now. I'm going to give it another day to just dry out. So just wanted to give you guys an update on what's going on with DIY Coach Al over here. These are the projects that I'm going to be working on. As I said, overall, the lawn, the plant is really looking very, 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 very good. So I'm going to go ahead and beyond the gate over there, I'm going to mix up my cocktail and hit that. And then I'm going to come back and maybe scout that front yard. I'll see when I come back. Anyway, hopefully you all are having an amazing day already, depending upon what time you get this video. DIY Coach Al over here at Lawn Care and Home Repair. Love you guys. Hey, do me a favor. If you like the content on the channel, do me a favor and hit that like button. And also consider subscribing to. Just wanted to add a brief addendum to the video. The reason you see these spots is because I think you kind of figured out from the other part of the video that that's just blue dye. So I decided not to go with the Spectricide because it already has quinclorac in the Q4 plus that I use, and I use the sulfentrazone because the sulfentrazone will specifically deal with cool season grassy weeds like your poa annua, your poa annua, poa triv. And it will also hit your sedges, your yellow and purple nutsedge. So you guys know that your weeds come in your sedges, your grassy weeds, and your broadleaf weeds. So in using the sulfentrazone, it had the quinclorac in it. I'm sorry, the Q4 plus, it had the sulfentrazone in it, and it had the quinclorac in it. That's going to deal with both broadleaf weeds and the grassy weeds. So, and then we know that the mesotrione is a post-emergent also for grassy weeds. And I think it may have some post-emergent grassy weeds, broadleaf weeds and grassy weeds. So the reason that I actually did it this way is because I wanted to see what that combination would do if I just spot sprayed it. There's actually really good grass out here, and I know that the sulfentrazone can actually damage fescue grass. It can, depending upon the rate that you use it. If you dilute it enough, I think you'll be okay. Don't take that as gospel. But as I said, I just wanted to do the spot spraying because if in fact this works, it means I can preserve the good grass that's under or that's been mingled in with these weeds. So I just wanted to come back and let you know that I decided not to use the Spectricide because it has quinclorac in it, and so does the Q4 plus. So I just went with the Q4 plus with the sulfentrazone, with the quinclorac, and I used the mesotrione. So we're going to just kind of see what happens with that. I'm going to come back and give you guys an update in a few weeks. If in fact it works, I'm going to come out and then just do a blanket spray of everything. So I just wanted to give you an update.